What the hell were we talking about, Thrall? We were talking about Falcon and
Winter Soldier.
it was like something in the Falcon.
Yeah, let's do it.
Welcome back, folks, to another episode of the Lone Wolf Howlcast. I'm not even going to say what I usually say, logic and reason in a world that's totally crazy, because as I've discovered today, it's even worse than crazy. So we're going to keep it light tonight, but I suspect next week things are going to get real again. So, Tyrell, I saw some stuff about Snyder Cut, but I know you contacted me offline that you saw some things too. So let's get into it.
Yeah, I really thought that since we did a whole episode on it, we should do a,
We didn't
you
do
know,
an episode, Tyrell. We did an epic.
and we
We
did
did
an
an
epic.
epic review that they can find in our library.
We should in these things. I kind of like us doing like the after effect, like not just predicting, but actually seeing what happened and the ratings picture and the what's happening with the whole franchise of DCU is really interesting and lots of unexpected things happening. So, you want to start off by what did you think of the movie and how, like what do you think people responded to it with?
Well, there's this one guy who kept repeating that it was just too long. I don't know who that guy was, Tyrell. There's a guy
Yeah,
who kept saying that 4 hours was too much, even though it was awesome.
that was
So we're
me.
not gonna, we're not going to retread that ground because we did that in the last review. So apparently, HBO subscriptions are up because of Snyder Cut. I don't know if it's just Snyder Cut or because they started putting out the teaser trailers for Mortal Kombat real early, and maybe Zilla versus Kong had something to do with it as well.
You bring up a really interesting part of this whole situation. The Snyder Cut, according to Cinema Blend, when Snyder Cut dropped, the amount of new subscriptions for HBO Max was really good. Like HBO was really happy
Actually, I'm
with.
looking at it right now on ScreenRant.com.
Mhm.
Snyder Cut leads to 64% increase in HBO Max. Okay, so downloads. I don't know what that necessarily means for subscriptions, but
Like,
you have to have an HBO subscription, I think, to have HBO Max, correct?
right.
Okay.
So the Snyder Cut actually was really good initially for HBO in terms of like getting new subscribers. That's the positive part of the story. The negative part of the story was the actual number of viewers of the movie was nowhere near as expected. So one of the biggest problems now is with normal movie theaters, we had box office results, which were manipulated, but still like we had numbers. But now with these streaming services, there's no transparency, so we have to use like third party people polls and things like that. HBO Max did report saying that they had a really good increase in subscriptions, but everything else about the movie underperformed. So, and
Hmm.
we know that, or we have an idea of that based on one data service called Antenna and another one TV Vision or TVISION. So two different data services that try to triangulate or what shows people are watching, how popular things are.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, they come out that the movie underperformed HBO's expectations. So HBO says that they had really good subscriber effects for the first 2, 3 weeks, but independent sources say that the actual number of people who watched it weren't that many.
So I'm
Um,
actually looking at a report right now on theobserver.com,
mhm.
and it says Zack Snyder's Justice League was the most watched movie in the U.S. 7.6% view share among all movie titles, both new release and library, during its release weekend.
Hmm.
That's pretty insane. 7.6% of everything that's out there,
Yeah,
people instead opted to watch the Snyder Cut. And there's a really neat graphic on their page, too. I'll have to link this.
yeah. It's again, I think because of how not transparent things are now, we have
Hmm.
to like really guess at what's going on, and based on what DCU and AT&T are doing, it really looks like this didn't work out. Here's another question is whether if the results weren't good, was it good enough to be worth 70 million that they put into it or not? I bet you it was good, but not good enough to say like, hey, we got to keep the Snyder universe because the DCU people, Warner Brothers and DCU came out pretty strong that they're not going to continue the Snyderverse.
No, I know. I saw something about that too today. Warner Brothers wants to squash the Snyder verse, as you said,
Yeah.
and like reboot it again. And it's like, why? You just had an awesome saga of a movie, that covered all the bases. It was way better than the Whedon cut. Matter of fact, oh, I know. It was, I can't remember the source, but it was the actor that plays Cyborg, Fisher.
Hmm.
Okay, he came out in an interview and was like, yeah, like Whedon and friends, and even some of the WB, the Warner Brothers execs, completely ignored all the notes on Cyborg's background and like how a lot of the Snyder cut kind of sort of centered on Cyborg a little bit, not explained, but portrayed him as like a tragic character, tragic hero,
Hmm.
So yeah, Fisher came out and did a whole interview about how severely pissed he was and how he was getting a lot of flack from the Warner Brothers execs that he pretty much needed to shut up and get in line. So
He might be blackballed out of Hollywood.
yeah, well, that's
Yeah,
what happens, right? When you speak up, unfortunately.
he talked a lot of. I mean, he said more worse than that. He thought Whedon was a racist, was abusive. He said a lot of things. So and the thing is that the entire Buffy the Vampire crew,
Yeah,
all the actors, actresses, producers, the entire crew, they all support. They all said, yeah, Whedon is a scumbag. So we know Fisher spoke the truth. There's no. I feel very confident saying that, but he might be done in Hollywood.
so
It's
maybe
more
that's one of the other reasons the Snyderverse might not be happening.
the
But let's try and
yeah,
stick to the numbers for a little bit because we got a
sure.
couple other shows we want to talk about. So again, according to this site that I'm looking at, and unfortunately, okay, it looks like they sourced their data from Whip Media.
Hmm.
Again, Snyder Cut, 7.6% of all viewership for that weekend.
Hmm.
How insane is that? That's huge.
Yeah, yeah.
That's like Titanic numbers.
So it seems like the first weekend, or at least the first two weekends, the movie really did good, and it made HBO happy. It's just after that it was like overall picture was not very good, but the first two weekends it was really well done. And unfortunately, I think we're not really most people aren't talking about this. The next fan driven movement to like save a show or can make another different cut of a show or anything like that. I
I
don't
know what you're
know
going to
if
say. I know what you're going
what
to say. You're going to say Suicide Squad.
right.
Yep.
Like I don't think it's gonna happen because if Snyder cut really did well like across the board, then it would have set a precedent saying like, hey, if there's fan enthusiasm and if there's a fan demand for like a second pressing or a different cut of a movie, this could be a profit generator or this could be something that we can make business off of. And it didn't, so I don't know if we're gonna have that kind of stuff anymore.
Hmm. It remains to be seen with Suicide Squad 2.0.
Well, the 2.0 one is going to be a full movie. I mean, it is going to launch. The most surprising thing is they're not pushing Margot Robbie nearly as much. The Birds of Prey movie did so bad that DCU is like, you know what? She's a star, but we're not going to make her like the star. You know what I mean?
Yeah, actually, I watched Birds of Prey, and it was so obviously, oh, the Femforce one gets it done.
Yeah.
Like they were untouchable. They barely took any hits in melee combat. There was so many MacGuffins available for them to survive every single scenario. you know, like like somebody shoots a crossbow bolt at Harley Quinn from the back. She doesn't even know the person's there. She just happens to like bend down and pick something up at the same time. Dumb things like that happen. But so Snyder Cut, I'm trying to find more data on it, and I'm not seeing a whole bunch. So perhaps we should just move on to Falcon and Winter Soldier.
So before we move on, I just want to say Variety in the 6th of this month said that according to their research, Zack Snyder's Justice League drew a smaller streaming share, defined as the weekly percent share of time spent with streaming services among U.S. TV Vision panel members than Wonder Woman in 1984, Judas and the Black Messiah, Godzilla, King Kong. So at least three other movies were better for HBO than the Snyder Cut. I
On this
really
weekend, though, not launch weekend, right? Not the.
not launch overall, yeah, overall, in the last with the last 6 months. So they try to compare the Snyder Cut versus other movies that HBO paid big money to show. So like Godzilla and Kong
Right.
did really well. Black Messiah, Judas and Black Messiah surprisingly did really well. And Wonder Woman 1984 smashes Snyder Cut, even though 84 was a worse movie. Did you like Snyder Cut better than 1984 or 84 better than 19?
No, I like Snyder Cut because it had everybody in it.
Okay.
You know, it wasn't just a vehicle for Wonder Woman. It was everybody,
Yeah. I mean,
and
so
it was
yeah.
done right. It was done right too to not feel like one hero was overshadowing everybody else.
I honestly really feel the length, man. They should have just broken it up.
Listen, when it's safe, come over, have a couple beers, we'll watch it again. It'll be fine.
I'm not 4 hours.
You can't stand my my company for 4 hours. Okay,
Four
buddy, let's
hours,
go.
man.
All right,
Okay.
Falcon, Winter Soldier.
Your thoughts first, because I have tons and tons of
Sure,
thoughts.
I like it. There's quite a few massive SJW overtones, but I like that we're getting to see like the second string of the Avengers doing stuff instead of it always being Thor and Tony Stark. Like okay, we know what happens at the end of Infinity War. That Steve Rogers, aka Captain America, he goes back in time to live out Peggy Carter's life with her, and he comes back to the present the long way around, as they said, like he lived through the years, and now, so he was on ice for how long? What was he on ice for? 84 years or something like that.
Right.
Because Bucky is 103, and he's technically younger than Steve Rogers, so Steve has to be 110, 115 total. Okay, and then he lives another 80 years on top of that. So because assuming it was World War II, right? So, actually, it'd be 90 years because he would have gone back to like the late 30s
Yeah.
and then come back around to 2020. So, okay, 80 some odd years. So now he's 190, almost 200 years old, maybe. But they haven't addressed in Falcon and Winter Soldier what's actually happened to him. Has he died off? Has he gone into air quotes retirement? Right? I like that they played it up, that the Falcon had a major moral quandary about, do I give the shield back to the government or do I, don the outfit? Like you could, when him and Bucky have that argument, when they have that really really awkward argument in front of the shrink, and like
Yeah.
they're Nita balls with each other.
Yeah, it was a little awkward. That's a little much.
That was so funny though. That was great. But
Was
other than that, the SJW overtones are a little bit too much. Like they have some petite, uncharismatic, 20-something-year-old woman running the Flag Smashers. The whole scene where after I don't want to give away too many spoilers. I'm trying to keep this vague,
Nah,
but
I think we can give spoilers, man.
it's only like 4 episodes deep, and people might be waiting for the whole season to launch before they watch it.
Do you think so? Okay. All right.
You
All
know,
right. Yeah.
so
Okay. Let's go with
so
that.
they go to go see that one guy in that Maryland neighborhood,
Mm.
right? And they have the argument with him, and then Sam is the Falcon for the folks that don't know that. Sam and Bucky are having the argument in the street, and of course, the cop just happened to be sitting at the corner, and of course, the cop is going to roll up and obviously be a white guy, and of course, the cop is going to harass Sam just because he's a black guy. That was like way too on the nose and over the top. But besides that, and then besides the trying to make this uncharismatic female character into a charismatic leader of a sympathetic terrorist organization, I'm really enjoying the show. I really like getting to see the B team in action. The first step, see, I'm about to give away spoilers. So spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Guess what? Spoilers. The first episode where it's like a gigantic multi-million-dollar GoPro commercial where they're doing the wingsuit chase through the canyons. That was awesome. That got my adrenaline up. That was so cool. Plus, one of your favorite MMA guys was in it too.
Saint Pierre.
Yeah, and spoilers, he doesn't die in that scene. He makes it out of that helicopter before it blows up. So who knows? He might come back.
I hope so.
Thinking back on it though, the premise of the show. So I've already given the spoiler alert. Loads of spoilers. The premise that somehow the super soldier serum has been made into version 2.0 and it's stable and it's been put out into the general populace pretty much kind of defeats the purpose of Steve Rogers' Captain America, because he was the only person to ever receive a stable version of the super soldier serum. And like even Tony Stark's dad couldn't recreate it. Like it was supposed to be like a miracle drug, pretty much, and it was completely could never be duplicated again. So that they've kind of nixed that, and like anybody, air quotes, can get it, kind of trivializes, I guess, Steve Rogers.
I agree with you completely. I was waiting. This is one of the things I had an issue with the show. The way they handled the super serum did trivialize Steve Rogers, the canon.
But not only that, it's Super Soldier Serum 2.0. So anybody who's getting it is better than Steve Rogers now.
Because they don't look bigger. I mean, the honest truth is this was just a skip around so that they don't have actors and actresses that have to go to the gym for 2 years straight to look huge.
Yeah.
Like so they don't hire the next Gina Carano. So they're like, okay, we'll hire anybody because you don't have to be big. You can just look the same.
Yeah, it'll all be green screen and wire work. Don't worry about
Yeah. So
it.
I mean, from a practicality basis, I get it, but I agree with you completely. It really takes the shine off of Steve Rogers' story.
You and I are both trying to remember that one time, and I forgot to look him up, but the guy who actually replaces, in the show, it's Captain John Walker, who they say in the show that he tested off the charts that he has like a higher percentage bone density, muscle mass, reflexes, and intelligence than your average person, but he's not a super soldier. And he
Right.
does get rocked and he gets his ass kicked a few times by the enemy.
His comics inspiration is USA Agent. The guy that me and you were thinking about is another guy who has a tattoo of the flag on his
Yeah, but
face.
isn't that the Patriot?
That's the Patriot. You're right. The guy that we are seeing on the show is USA Agent.
I'm looking for
So
the guy who had the blonde, close cropped hair and had like the half mask that his hair still stuck out of, and he had just a star on his chest instead of the full,
I
Captain
think
America
I
outfit.
think you're talking to Patriot. So the
Yeah, but all
USA
modern imagery is some black guy who's wearing like a Cobra Commander style outfit.
USA Agent. That's where the guy Walker's name's from. So USA Agent in the comics was not a Captain America knockoff, but like he was close. He was like, what if Captain America did as the government told him to do? That's what USA Agent really was. And the Patriot was, what if we had a Captain America that we could send into war to fight our fights? So
Right,
like,
because the Patriot, I'm trying to confirm it, but the Patriot was the guy, and I remember reading about it where like they dropped him in Nam.
yep,
Well, they gave him a version of the super soldier serum, and it made him like bananas because they dropped him in Nam, and like they said, oh, they're not really too worried about the body count that he's racking up, and they didn't really. They kind of turned a blind eye when he tattooed the American flag on his face, and like there was like this escalation of like the guy's clearly getting crazier, but because he's getting results, the government doesn't care. Oh,
there's
you know what? I might be
what's it?
blending them together because the U.S. agent in the comics was a guy in a black, kind of like Captain America outfit, but it had a star over the right side of the chest and then red and white stripes on the chest.
What, like
And
a vestish type thing, like as if he
yeah, and the
had like
guy
yeah.
playing the outfit they have the guy in the show, the star is over on the right side of his chest. He's just wearing more like militaristic gear instead of
Mhm.
spandex. I think the guy we're looking at is not going to be the Patriot. He's U.S. agent. All right. Well, I'll just shut up now because all my comic foo is dead.
So the old super soldier that they met in Maryland, the black soldier, he was canned.
Battlestar, that guy? Oh no, the
No,
old guy. We
the
can
old
say his
guy.
name now because I put the spoilers out there, and I'm going to
Yeah.
put the graphics in the video cut. So
So he is canon. His story, the entirety of it, is true to the comics. My issue is this. No, let me start by because I'm gonna sound like a hater. These are the things I like. The number one thing I like is the show is taking chances. It's talking about the blip and talking about the trauma of the
yeah,
blip.
it's continuing the continuity.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's not like the Avengers Endgame just happened and everyone's happy. So that's a chance that they took, and I respect that they took that risk. The second thing I liked is Baron Zemo. is crushing it. You know, the actor who's playing Baron Zemo is crushing it. Mackie and Sebastian Stan. The
Yeah.
casting of the show is really,
Just
really
real
good.
quick, that's Anthony Mackie is the actor who
Anthony Mackie,
plays.
yeah. Sebastian
Uh,
Stan and
yeah.
Anthony Mackie. The casting of this show more or less is stellar, except the one person you pointed out. The lady who plays Flag Smashers,
Yeah.
she is not good and completely they failed hard when they casted her. She can't really act. She only has like one gear, which is like Sad Bunny. Yeah, you know? That's the only gear she's got. So when she's killing people, you're just kind of like, "What?" Or even so you just watched her kill somebody, then she does a Sad Bunny, and you're like, what are we
Right.
looking at?"
Yeah, her emotions flip flop all over the place. Like she sets a car bomb off, and then yeah, you're right. She does the sad puppy dog eyes, and then she's like explaining the whole motivation of their terrorist movement, and that we have to take care of people. I still, dude, I still don't understand their motivation that they want things to go back to the way they were during the blip.
The blip, yeah.
Now, there's been a 5 year span. I think this takes place just like a little while after Tony Stark bites it, bringing
Correct.
everybody back after the 5 year gap. But I would think during that 5 years, at least the first year and maybe longer into that 5 years, things would have been pretty damned chaotic. Like you'd have to be cleaning up car wrecks, plane
Correct.
crashes,
Yeah, yeah.
ships lost at sea, infrastructure going to hell because people just disappeared. Nobody's watching the dials. You know what I
It
mean?
yeah, I so this is the thing, right? If you're gonna
Wait, I'm
take
sorry.
chances,
I'm sorry, Thrall. I have to interject one
go
more
ahead.
time. The guy I was thinking about, I am so way off that I'm going to stop referencing characters tonight. The guy I was thinking of with the flag tattooed on his face was Nuke.
Oh shit.
I was so far off.
Oh, they were
Wow.
making fun of Duke Nukem.
Oh, maybe. I mean, he is like a muscle-bound giant freak with a buzz-cut blonde hair.
Yeah, yeah. I think they were making fun of Duke Nukem. Take a chance on a story, which is commendable. You gotta make sure you think things through, and it doesn't feel like they did. Like the care wasn't there. Plus, I didn't figure this out. I was watching YouTube, someone breaking it down, from the industry side. A big reason why the story doesn't quite make sense or the plot doesn't quite move the way like it feels unnatural. Someone in Disney, exec, nuked one of the primary storylines at the editing stage. You
No,
notice that
no pun intended, huh?
no pun intended. You ever notice how like the Flag Smashers talk about vaccines, they show people sick, but we don't ever talk about anyone being sick?
Mm-hmm.
It's because in the original shooting of the show, they were talking about COVID. They had like their own version of COVID plague
Oh,
go
so not only
through.
did they get the blip, they also got the plague too, huh?
Right, they got the plague. But if you watch from episode one to now, that's the reason why the terrorist group is, taking from the rich and giving to the poor.
That's why
They're
they were stealing the vaccines and stuff in that the 18 wheeler.
right. That's why they would send so
Aha.
much resources against them. Like, why would you need both Battlestar, the new Captain America, and Falcon and Winter Soldier to get these vaccines? Because, and supposedly, the conjecture is the executives nuked this storyline is because they felt that people who are watching are already bummed about COVID.
Right.
They don't want to see that in their entertainment. So they literally just, just cut it out. The footage is there, like when the people made the show, they made it more coherent, but now it's this much less coherent thing because all right, why are they fighting? Why are they going after vaccines?
Man,
What are all those scenes of people dying in the hospital?
yeah, okay, that makes a lot more sense, right? People dying in the hospital. Nobody's wearing a mask at all, by the way,
Nobody, right?
in the hospitals. Matter of fact, Lee, I can't even remember her name. That's how vanilla she is.
Just Bunny, Sad Bunny.
Yeah, we'll just call Sad Bunny. Sad Bunny actually like rests her cheek against the other woman when she dies in the hospital bed. And if that's the case, that they're dying, although maybe because she's a super soldier, maybe that gives her some sort of spus marine invulnerability to plagues and stuff, perhaps. That's a 40K reference, folks, by the way.
No,
Spus
I mean,
marine, SPUSS
space.
MAHREEN. Look it up.
It just seems like this explanation, because I really don't like the show. Like I know you like it, but I'm not enjoying this show.
You know
Um,
why? I enjoy the interplay between Falcon and Winter Soldier, and you're right. Nemo is stealing pretty much every scene he's in, and I like the action. The
yeah,
action scenes are pretty damn good.
no
So
complaints.
if they could finally explain that the motivation of the terrorist group, then I might be a little more into it. But those three reasons, I am thoroughly enjoying it just because of that.
It's the only redeeming values I think is the casting, minus
Oh,
her
wait, we missed
sad bunny.
somebody. You missed a character. They
Who?
brought back the woman that was the niece, like the
Oh,
grandniece of Peggy Carter.
Sharon, what's the name?
Carter, I guess, right?
Carter, Sharon Carter, right?
Yeah, so they brought her back, which she was only in like I think Captain America 1 for like 2 scenes maybe. And they brought the actress back to revive the character in this,
I
so
thought
that's pretty cool.
she was in my favorite Captain America, Winter Soldier.
I'm gonna have to go digging deep into IMDb for that one to check the character, man. Whatever, they brought her back to revive the character for this, and she's prominent in it, which
Yeah,
is cool.
she's good. And one last thing, this is the one last thing that I like.
Okay.
I really love what they're doing with Wakanda. I love it every time one of the Wakanda soldier ladies are up. I was like, okay, this is hilarious. And they're making a point about US foreign policy. Anytime the Wakandans are on the screen, I am just all about it.
They're
Like
pretty cool, but
like a little goes a far way. I don't maybe they wouldn't maybe they can carry the show, but whenever they're in, there's this like third like unstable factor in the story. Like
yeah,
everyone gets
yeah, there's
nervous.
another interested party. Actually, technically, they're a fourth because the power broker is obviously going to come on the scene sooner or later.
True. Yeah,
So that'll
you're
be like the fourth. There'll be your four squares right there, Thrall.
right. I mean, so this is my compliment. Like again, casting is fantastic. Anthony Mackie, Sebastian Stan, the guy who plays Nemo. I actually like the acting that USA Agent is doing too.
Yeah, well, you could see that he's regressing. You know, he started out in the interview scene and in the the pre-interview locker scene, like he was a guy who was with it.
Who's
He
trying
was,
his best.
yeah, he's trying his best. He's a little nervous about taking on the mantle, and then in his first encounter, he gets his ass kicked by these terrorist super soldiers. And like at that point, you can immediately see that he's starting to snap.
Yeah, I think he's doing a great job. Literally the one black hole of acting in that show is the Sad Bunny. She's just not believable. Nothing makes sense. Like, how did she get the Falcon sister's phone number? So many things are about her.
Well,
Anytime she's on the screen, it's like a negative.
they did show that one of her guys is a hacker.
Yeah.
They did have a scene where one of her guys like immediately sat down. Remember when they met up with the sympathizers in Germany, and the guy had like a whole underground dormitory set up for them, and it's kind of like not really focused on, but one of her guys immediately starts sits down at a computer
Right. No,
and
you're right.
starts like doing stuff. So I
I,
think it was feasible that maybe it was an off-screen hack.
this kind of segues well to my biggest gripe on the show. The sister's not necessary. It just makes the show a downer. The social commentary is done extremely poorly.
Yes, agreed.
It is. I think one time I just turned to you like, this is so cringe.
I
The
think that was the
show,
banking scene, right, where she's going for the loan and he is with them, but just because they're black, the white banker's just not going to give them the loan, right?
every
That was like
episode, yeah,
super over the top.
every
Yeah.
episode, there's multiple points that are so cringe. Again, neither me nor the Lone Wolf are against social commentary. We're not against social commentary that is not what we believe in. Just make it good. Make it like work. Like if you're gonna do it well.
Right.
I mean, incredibly like
Sorry, Terrell. Like
yeah,
we
go.
do. Make it
Yeah,
work well like we do.
yeah. Sometimes. I mean,
Also, the actor who's playing Baron Zemo, his name is Daniel Bruhl. I hope I'm saying the last name right.
fantastic.
Yeah.
But the social commentary stuff is done so poorly and it's so cringe that it almost eclipses the good action and the good interplay and all the other stuff. Like sometimes I really do feel it eclipses the show where I'm like, I don't know why I'm watching this. This is so bad.
Yeah.
There's this internet personality called Doomcock, and Victor Doomcock, and he's one of these guys that says he has lots of connections to in Hollywood, and he made a stir by saying that in Disney they're having huge problems at the executive level because people are just turning off the show, like Falcon and Winter Soldier, and he says that. You remember that scene that you talked about where like Anthony Mackie and Sebastian Stan they walk out of a house and they're having a loud argument and a police car shows up out of nowhere. And
Yeah.
Doomcock swears that his connections tell him that after that scene, like you can track everyone watching your show and every like 66% of the people just changed the channel. Now, whether that's true or not, we don't know, but I can
Not
guarantee
without
you,
some hard metrics on the viewership.
yeah, like I mean, we can't verify that, and Disney's not gonna obviously not gonna talk about it. But what we can tell you is that the social commentary is done so incredibly poorly that it is believable. It is like the cringeworthy scenes are so bad that you're just like, I don't want to watch. I don't know why we're watching this show. So between the story not making sense, the head villain being poorly acted or written, one of the main storylines literally being edited out of there
Yeah.
because the executive thought that it's going to be a bummer to everyone watching. The show's got a lot of problems. Like I wouldn't recommend it to other people.
I would just for the sake for the action romp. It's like I don't want to get into it too much right now, but I watched King Kong versus Godzilla,
Mhm.
and the movie is utterly stupid. But you have King Kong fighting Godzilla. That's it. It's a dumb giant monster movie, and if you go into it expecting that, then you're gonna thoroughly enjoy it.
I think, and this is, I think you hit in the nail. It's about expectations. If you
Yeah,
go watch King Kong or Godzilla movie, you want giant kaiju fights.
right.
You
It's
don't
I think it's
care.
specifically about lowering your expectations.
But if you watch a Marvel show, you kind of like are looking for a good time. Like I want to watch that show having a high entertainment value experience. I want to see
Mhm.
great action. I want to see quips. I want to see you know superheroes do superhero things. This show's entertainment value is pretty low because of the cringe. Like you have to sit through a lot of bad to get to that action scene.
That is true. But I'm also a sucker for Marvel superhero action stuff. So guess what I'm going to do, Thrall? I'm going to watch it
We're,
anyway.
yeah, I mean, I'll watch it with you. It's just, like it's. I mean, it's more like to hang out with you. But like, I don't. I just don't know if. I think they made a mistake with this show, and it's not the social commentary. It's just whoever they have writing it is just shitting the bed. It's not about the cast.
You know
The
what it sounds? You
ingredients
know what
are
it
there.
smacks of? It
Yeah.
smacks of the curse of Kathleen Kennedy. I think is what we're feeling in this movie. I haven't seen. I really suck at doing my due diligence and like looking into who's the producers and stuff like that. But being that it's Disney, Kathleen Kennedy has already tanked and ruined Star Wars. She might be turning her evil eye on Marvel.
Hey, whatever it is, it's a problem. The show's a mess.
Yeah.
And or maybe this is, like you said, lowering expectations. Maybe our expectations should change because WandaVision is supposed to be one of the best shows.
I gotta watch it still, so no spoilers for me, my friend.
Okay, but it's extremely well done, and it's been, got the attention it deserves. Falcon and Winter Soldier is not well done. So maybe we just, when it comes to the TV side, we might have to lower our expectations and just think like, okay, maybe it's hit or miss. Because WandaVision also had a very, very complicated premise. They took a real gamble on, and it worked out. But here
Well,
in
they're
this
they're
show,
basing most of WandaVision on a
on the
comic
com,
miniseries that came out
yeah,
like
yeah,
years ago too. It's not even current.
it's one of the few. The House of M storyline is one of the few Marvel resets where DC just resets its universe every couple of years.
Yeah.
Marvel almost never does, and
Marvel did it with Secret Wars 2015, where something happened, and the universe blew up, and Doctor Doom absorbed the power of the Beyonder, and then rebuilt the universe. But it's like one gigantic planet with different zones that people kind of stay within.
Yeah, and everyone fought. Like it was just
Yeah,
one
and
big fight.
he's king of everything. He's got the not even the power cosmic. He's got the power of the Beyonder, which that's a throwback to like the 80s.
Yeah.
So anyway, I digress.
Is there any point that we? I'll
All right,
say
so let's
this.
do this. Let's say this.
Yeah.
I know because I'm going to go back for more that I'm going to continue watching it, and then once they hit their season finale, I'm going to switch over to WandaVision. So regardless of the social commentary, ultra cringe, and Sad Bunny not carrying her weight as the leader of a terrorist regime, except she probably was picked solely because she's female to play the part. I'm going to still watch it anyway. What do you think? Are you going to watch with me or what?
I'll watch with you because we're best bros. But I'm gonna say
Shh,
this:
people aren't supposed to know that.
WandaVision may have been good because the comics that was based on were also really good. The comics that this storyline that Falcon and Winter Soldier are using, they're one of the worst done storylines that Marvel did.
Yeah.
So this might have been a case where they're adapting a poorly written story in the first place. When Falcon gets the becomes Captain America, he gets the shield. The show from the begin, I mean, the comic from the beginning was gonna address racial matters in the United States. So it's not that like the storyline didn't go for it. Problem was the writers of the comic did such a poor job that like it failed. And it was failing so hard they brought back old man Captain America. And old man Captain America and Falcon had a fight. Because old man wanted his shield back. He was saying Falcon wasn't doing a good job. And it was just puke. Whereas WandaVision had good material to kind of base off of, the material that this show is basing off of was already weak. So
Right, and
it
then it's
might have,
compounded by poor execution.
yeah. So like this, the storyline it's based off was weak and executed badly, and now the story that they're doing up for the TV show is executed badly. Oh, by the way, some exec said cut out the plague part because everyone's already going to be bummed about it. So I don't know if this is going to get another season after the next two episodes.
Yeah, that'd be a shame because again, I like the interplay between, as I've said it a bunch, but the interplay between Falcon and Winter Soldier. Well, Bucky Barnes, right?
Bucky Barnes, yeah,
Yeah, the interplay there, and then introducing Zemo. I like that they're going into the seedy underground of Madripoor, which is a made-up country, I think, right?
right.
But somehow it's like,
No Asians anywhere. It's in Southeast Asia, but no Asians anywhere.
yeah, they're all like Australian. But what I was going to pick out is that they said that it's like a crime-run city, and yet the city seems to have stellar infrastructure. The
Right.
power's on, the buildings aren't crumbling, there's no potholes in any of the roads that they were on. You know?
Everything's fine. Everything's fine. I will say though, they're doing such a good job with Baron Zemo. If Baron Zemo becomes like a villain of another like a Marvel movie, I wouldn't be upset.
In the comics, his storyline, he gets a hold of some of the Infinity Stones. He doesn't get them all. I don't think he ever gets all of them, but he gets a few of them, and he becomes a real force to be reckoned with. Like right now, he seems like he's downplayed, and he's like a B villain, but he becomes a force to be reckoned with in the comics. So I want to see how
I'm
that plays out.
Yeah, I'm glad the actor is good. And this might be a minority opinion because most people don't like the actor who did the USA Captain America, but he's playing USA agent very well. He's got
Yeah,
pathos. He's he's shown like he's not as good looking as Rogers was.
yeah, he looks
He's not as
horrible in the headgear.
he's
He
not as
looks,
big as Rogers. Like he's playing that whole like this is not gonna work out. Like and then he takes the Super Soldier Serum 2.0, and now
yeah,
he's got powers, and now he's like losing his shit. Like I really respect what the actor is doing.
yeah. No, the actor playing the part, he's doing a good job with that. I don't know if they designed the headgear for him to make him look like almost
Like it shouldn't
a
he shouldn't be wearing it.
caricature. he looks like a caricature because the first time you see him with that headgear on,
It doesn't
like
fit.
it's not fitting his chin right. His ears are sticking out weird. His nose looks big.
Yeah.
You know,
I think it's intentional.
I think so too. Anyway, we're about hitting that time, Terrell.
Okay.
So on that
Yes.
note, everybody, my vote is, well, it's either going to be unanimous or a 50-50 split because there's only two of us. But my vote is watch Falcon and Winter Soldier anyway and formulate your own opinions. And,
I
feel
think you can save your time.
I was going to say feel free to comment in the comments as well to continue the conversation. And as always, please like and subscribe. All right,
Thank
have a
you.
good night, everybody. Thanks for
Have a
joining
good
us.
one.